The X
Yeah.
is absolutely deflationary. For me, it's one of the most deflationary tokens I've ever seen.
You must know some things. Like you must have like, are we going to be okay? Like macro here. I'm not talking about the protocol. I'm not talking about DeFi. We're going to be all right.
Yeah.
This team is really, a pretty large team for a very ambitious project.
My insight is that I think everybody else looks at the old systems and how they're crumbling and falling apart. And then we all pivot to this space and we realize that there is hope. There is a future. Systems like YSL provide a safe haven for folks to go to have reliable, sustainable places to put their capital. Then once that starts to happen, it'll accelerate faster than the internet. And then the next thing you know, the old system's going to be crumbling and dying away, and this system's going to take off.
The difference here that Vincent had explained as well, but I wanted to come back to, is when we're thinking our reward token, think of almost like a stable coin-like experience. The reason why is the protocol is actually rebalancing the price to bring it back to $1, which is so innovative.
Okay. So here we go. So everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're doing something a little different today. We've got an AMA with a protocol, YSL.io. I had mentioned this in one of my videos a few weeks ago that this was something that I was looking at. This first kind of came across my radar. I think it was JC Crypto had told me about this in terms of a protocol that, is yield staking liquidity and has a very interesting mechanics that I found compelling and to look at further. So we are gonna get a chance to speak with the team here, hear them. Some people have said that it gets a little confusing. So I wanted to do a deeper dive, and I've chatted with the team prior to try and simplify this, because I think this is an opportunity during this bear market that we're in, an opportunity for real gains, a safety for where we can put money during this time. I'm glad that you guys got me involved, and yeah, welcome.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure having you, and thank you for having us, I should say. First of all, I just kind of wanted to introduce the team a little bit. My name's Adam. We're also joined by Diana and also Vincent, Cyber Strategy One here. That's only just part of the team. This team is really, a pretty large team for a very ambitious project. So first, going into the team, I'll start with Diana. So she's the project lead. She's also lead in marketing and had prior worked for PlayStation as well. I'm going to have them speak and kind of give a further introduction to themselves, but I just kind of wanted to give like a high level. We also have Vincent, who is our security specialist. Tons of experience in the real world with security. He'll kind of give a little bit there. Then we also have our two founders, Simran and Hardev. They're actually both brothers. And one of them has worked on a top 100 cryptocurrency project as well, which is absolutely amazing. These guys not only are incredibly intelligent, but you can see my dog Max.
That was awesome, by the
way. you can not only he made a little cameo. Hey,
there, look at that. I love it.
But he's not part of the team, but maybe we'll get him a little jersey or something. But what I wanted to say is that, the two brothers here are very, very dedicated and extremely talented as well. So they really envisioned this project, YSL.io, and really had it come to life in a way that it is, coming to life now. So it's not just there. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Oh,
Adam, if I could say what I've always found interesting is yourself along with Dana. You guys had a lot of stuff going on already, and then this came across your radars and immediately sparked interest to say, wait, what is this? I want to potentially be involved.
100%. And I mean, I'll kind of go into myself, right? So like I said, my name's Adam. I'm actually like outside the team. but I've been lucky enough to find this project, as you had mentioned, right? So a little bit about myself. I've been in crypto since about 2017. Long story short, I ended up falling into the YouTube rabbit hole of learning about crypto. And I think we all kind of like found some avenue in like that. And then you just spend weeks learning about it. And it's like absolutely enthralling. So that's how I got interested. And one thing led to another. I became a marketing manager on multiple different crypto-based projects. And then also a spokesperson for projects that really had innovation and really interested me. So the YSL.io team approached me. I learned about the project. And what's great is what we're going to be speaking about today is kind of the distillation of everything that I learned, of everything that we're going to be speaking to the community with as well. So it's actually very easy when we distill it down to the most actionable parts of this ecosystem, which we're excited to talk about. But you're correct. Yeah, this has been awesome because we've been able to join in from doing other things and then see the potential. So I think that is probably a good segue as well. I wanted to actually pass it over to today to be able to speak a little bit more about herself, and then Vincent as well. And if you guys want to introduce the rest of the team as well, I know I completely left out the amazing developer team that we have, the additional development team. So if you'd like to, Day.
Hello. Yes. Well, hi everybody. My name is Diana. As Adam said, I'm the project lead. I come from years of working in marketing, 6 years of experience in entertainment and technology. Actually, I come from PlayStation, managing the regions of Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Bolivia, basically. And as you guys said, yes, the guys reached out to me, and the project seemed very interesting to me. I mean, before that, I had been, diving into all the crypto spheres, more into the gaming aspect. I had worked with a couple of projects before that, and so yeah, basically they reeled me in, and I left everything of that to continue in this project. I've been working with them since November of last year. So that's a little bit about me.
And Vincent, if you want to just give a little intro, because I know you got a ton of experience in security, so I want to make sure people hear that for sure.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Adam. My background, I kind of spent 20 years in the Department of Defense doing cybersecurity and IT related type projects. For the most part, working anywhere from small locations to enterprise-wide monitoring, globally, several 100,000 locations, and providing security for all of that in response to events. So I've seen many hacking events in my lifetime. Analysis, looked at who all of the players are in the space, looking into a lot of that stuff, and then have taken a lot of that knowledge and leveraged that to help the YSL team. From around this time last year, talking with them, and then really diving into the security aspect of things the beginning of the year with the founders, to really try to look at this from a security standpoint first, as we're going through the development processes and putting key elements in place so that we build a moat and a response system that is dynamic and constantly learning, just as attackers are, right? So we always want to continue to learn and advance, and make sure that we're evaluating ourselves to higher standards at all times to ensure that we're protecting people's capital, which is the number one thing that we want to make sure that we're doing.
Hey, Vincent, I was curious, you must know some things. Like you must have like, are we going to be okay? Like macro here. I'm not talking about the protocol. I'm not talking about DeFi. We're going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. The macro, we could probably talk like 2-3 hours on macro if we wanted to, in terms of all the stuff that's going on, the headwinds, all of the things that are happening, right? If you look at the markets today, we're on a small incline, right? But that goes against everything all of the macro people are telling us to at the same time. So that's the conundrum I think a lot of us are in, that you see in people commenting and stuff like that, in terms of the lunacy that's happening out there. From power, food, geopolitical aspects of things, the markets themselves, how they're reacting to that, what the Fed is doing and not doing, saying and not saying, right? We're in a small hiatus. So when there's stability, the markets generally climb. But when you look at it over the scale of things, when I'm looking at it, you know, I'm probably in the same boat as you, is thinking that you know, how can this entire system continue to keep going up? Right. I still think there's still more down pressure than there is up pressure. There's not a lot of mechanisms being put in place to allow a system to run, which in some regards is okay, because we need it to reset. We need to flush out some of these bad actors, some of these things that aren't good and healthy for us that have been allowed to be sustained. The zombie companies and other things in the system need to get flushed out. Unfortunately, for that to happen, a lot of bad things need to happen in the environment, which is not healthy. But on the backside of that, I think I'm hopeful on the backside of that, that things will turn around. And then really my insight is that I think everybody else looks at the old systems and how they're crumbling and falling apart. And then we all pivot to this space and we realize that there is hope, that there is a future, and that systems, you know, ecosystems like YSL provide a safe haven for folks to go to have reliable, sustainable places to put their capital. And then once that starts to happen, it'll accelerate at faster than the internet. And then the next thing you know, the old system's going to be crumbling and dying away, and this system's going to take off. And that's kind of my belief. The timing of that and the permeations in between that are going to be extremely rough for all of us. And it's just a matter of timing and weathering that storm, I think.
Yeah, and I think, Vincent, that, you know, one of the things, once I started looking into, you know, YSL, that stood out to me was you actually being a part of this, because for me, like I consider myself kind of like a wannabe moon boy. Like you know what I mean? Like, think about it, moon boys, they always look like they're having a good time. It's always fun. You know what I mean? They're full of positivity. And at the same time, I'm also someone that I do think, even just within this bear cycle, I do believe we have actually a lot more pain, you know, ahead of us. And you're right, there's a lot of things we still need a big flush out. I think that, so at any rate, to have someone like you a part of this, that I know, you know, behind the scenes, you're aware of kind of that macro, potentially, like, let's look at this very critically. We need to be very realistic here. So knowing that you're a part of that, you know what I mean, intrigued me, I think, even more in terms of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, there's lots of aspects that I'm excited about for this team and this project, and look forward to getting into them, you know, and having Adam lead that discussion. But really want to make it a discussion, right? So if there's questions or things that you have, you know, absolutely interject, because I think we all learn and grow in our understandings of things if we have a real discussion and stuff. You know, in terms of understanding of what's going to happen out there in our perspectives and what we see, because we all come from a different perspective. We all have different sources of information, things we looked at, our background, skills, and abilities allow us to look at things very, very differently. And it's a combination of all of that that I think brings us kind of up the informational ladder, from not just information. We start to create that knowledge, and then that wisdom comes when we ask the questions, and then we challenge assertions, and we look at things from different perspectives. And then that's how you transition from just knowledge to wisdom. And then once you have that wisdom, you can take that action. And that's kind of how I look at the space, you know, in terms of how I try to drive things, right? Data being at the very bottom, information, knowledge, and then wisdom at the top of that pyramid.
So well said. And Adam, I want to pivot over to you. I think that something you said, you know, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers are similar. You know, I'm someone that, you know, 2021, I do a lot of stuff in the traditional markets. I sell options. I've made a lot of good money doing that. Entering into the crypto space, I, you know, was doing a lot of swing trading. I traded a lot of the dog coins, made a lot of money that way, and was doing very well. And then I discovered, you know, these DeFi platforms, probably I want to say in like November of last year. And like you, Adam, I just kind of went like, I got sucked in, like deep dived into the YouTube rabbit hole. And I was just so, I had so much fun learning about it, and it opened me up where I like, yeah, I'm making good money selling options and all that, but I was getting almost bored with that. And really this just, it sucked me in. And even as the market, you know what I mean, tanked, you know, and there's rug pulls left and right, I was still so drawn to, you know, this opportunity of jumping into some of these protocols. And I'm still just as enthusiastic as I was, despite being in a crypto winter, despite being, you know, seeing protocols die left and right. I'm still just enthralled by it. So I wanted to know, like, tell me, like, a person, you know, that shares kind of similar, you know, opinion as me, and has kind of joined in this DeFi space. What should they be looking at when they're looking at YSL, and why would it be something that they would want to consider, you know, throwing $500, $1,000 in? Like, take us kind of through that here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And it is really a journey of understanding, you know, I think we're all kind of chasing that perfect protocol, that perfect DeFi farm, or, you know, type of experience that we can put our money in, go on a little vacation for a week, and not be completely upset when we come back, right? There'll be fluctuation here and there, that's fine. But you should be able to take a couple days off, spend time with family, and not have everything completely like liquidated, or, you know, a dev makes a bad decision and now everything's failed and you didn't see the notification, right? That's not a positive environment. That's not how you actually continue to bring people into your protocol. So what YSL is looking to do, what YSL.io is looking to do is, as you see here on screen, right? You know, the future, basically the future of DeFi 3.0. So it's baked into the name, YSL, yield, staking, liquidity. Those are the three pillars of really what make this special. So all of those three things are working in tandem to create the sustainability that we all kind of want. Now, it's not enough to promise it. I think we've all heard like just empty promises in the form of buzzwords, in the form of, you know, just things that are just overused too much. But what isn't shown is actual sustainability and how it would be done. So we'll kind of walk through some of that today, but I did just want to say, just put plain and simple, what is the mission statement of YSL.io? Well, it's really a DeFi 3.0 protocol with efficiency and sustainability in mind when it comes to yields. So it's something that you're going to continually get a very good ROI on. In fact, a leading ROI in comparison to some big options that people might know, like maybe Drip or others. But we also have to earn that trust, right? So it's not something that is just immediately given. I think the space has also unfortunately been burned by a lot of, like you said, rug pulls, bad experiences, projects not living up to promises, those sort of things. We're here to prove that we are able to deliver these things through the team that's been assembled, through the amazing development that's been done in this, that isn't just copy and paste coding, right? This is all from the ground up, coded fresh. Absolutely fresh, no forks, nothing like that. It's completely fresh, and also it's audited as well by a very respected auditing company, PeckShield. So that in total is really like what forms YSL.io. And there's three main things that I think are really awesome to speak about when we're thinking about YSL, because we talked about, okay, like, you know, we understand what the ethos is, like what, you know, what is the point of YSL.io, but how can I actually participate right now? Well, there's three different ways. And I think it's also tying into one thing that most people already know. When you're going into a DeFi protocol, you know there's going to be a reward token of some type, right? So we have a reward token, except to be quite frank, ours is better. I'll explain why it is, but it's sustainable is why it's better. So we'll get into that. There's also a token in our ecosystem that we'll speak about, which plain and simple is one of the most deflationary tokens that has ever really existed, that is also sustainable. And then the third thing we'll talk about today, which I'd love to get into, is the one that I'm personally most excited for. It's a token that lends itself to the success of the treasury of this protocol. So put plain and simple, the more the treasury grows in this protocol, the more successful this token is. So those are going to be the three things I'd love to be able to kind of, bring to the forefront here. We also have an amazing referral system, which we can get into at the end. But I just kind of wanted to start with that, if that sounds good.
That sounds fantastic.
Awesome.
Let's get into it.
So taking a sip of tea to start, we'll go into XYSL. So let me go ahead and hide this so that way I can actually reach. Okay. So going into XYSL. First of all, can you guys see the screen? Does it show correctly? Okay, awesome. So like I said, this is our deflationary token. So all you need to know is this token is going to be burning in absolutely massive ways. So every single deposit on the vaults that we're going to have are going to allow for XYSL burning. Also, when you're transacting, it's going to be burning down 5% on each side, on the version 1 side, which is available right now, and then also on the version 2 side, which is going to be basically going live end of next month. Now, also, there's other ways in which it's burning through a system called quantum buybacks. Not really important to know. You can always dive in deep, right? But just know that across the board, it's not just relying on transactions. And I think that's important. When you think about, we've all also seen burn tokens. Burn tokens are not new, right? They were actually like really trendy like a couple of months ago, right? And then they kind of like died off a little bit. Now they're kind of coming back. So the difference is, okay, if you're burning down, is it actually valuable in the ecosystem? Because if you only have 100 of something and it's burning down to 50, half the supply, is that even valuable? Where is it deriving value? Why does it matter, basically? So what you have here is a token that, which is our burn token, XYSL, that is going to be a core piece of this ecosystem. And it's going to be able to capture a lot of value for those that understand, like, the fact that it is starting at such a low amount. If we actually go to the max amount, it was 80,000 on V1, which is where you can buy it right now. Actually tax-free, in fact. But it's actually not even at 80,000. It actually has burned down to 63, a little over, almost like 64,000, right? 63,755. But this is even going to be lower, because what's happening is there's going to be a migration that you're going to be able to do from V1, which you can buy it right now at a cheap price, over to V2 at the end of next month, where it's going to be listed for even more money. So when we're talking about like value proposition, right? We already talked about the fact that this is a burn token that is burning in multiple different ways, not just transactions, but also on vault deposits and other elements within the ecosystem. But it's also one that is going to be burned down even through migrations. And then what is why do I care about it though? What's the value? The value is right now, it's trading at about $30 on V1. Now, what you could do as an investor and someone maybe that wants to find an opportunity to do some amazing arbitrage is you could buy it right now at 30 bucks, and you could buy it from the open market, by the way. It's on PancakeSwap. Just make sure you're using the actual contract. You can buy it for 30 bucks, but there's a 12.5% tax on it. So why not get it tax-free? You can get it tax-free for a limited time, as long as there's still XYSL available to purchase through our OTC. All that means is you can buy it over the counter from the protocol by joining the Telegram. It's completely tax-free at that point, and you receive it same day. Now, the cool thing is we talked about how this is a very deflationary token. Well, every time you're doing a transaction on V1, which you can buy it right now, it's burning down. At 5% of that, it's always burning down, burning down, burning down. But the advantage, why I mentioned arbitrage, is when it's listed end of next month, it's listing for $120. So this is like we're talking about like an absolutely golden opportunity to be able to purchase this and then move it over to V2 if you choose to, and you're going to be able to capture the value there. Now, what's great is there's still going to be a lot of people that keep it on V1 and wait for the price to appreciate, because you better believe if there's that arbitrage opportunity, what are people doing? They're now buying on V1 after the OTC event is done, and then they're moving it right over to V2 and selling it for a higher price. So it's really cool because people can capture value even if they decide not to migrate. Now, people are going to probably want to migrate because obviously higher price, they can do some arbitrage, but then also in the sense of what can I do with this token now? Okay, cool, right? It's a burn token. That's nice. It's going to be listed at a higher price, also great. But what can I actually, do with this? Well, you're going to be able to stake it on V2 and also earn not just an APY, but also something called a perpetual ratio. I'm not going to get into that, but put plain and simple, you're dual earning in rewards. So basically you're earning a reward token and you're also seeing your balance grow of the amount that you staked in. So when we're talking about value, there's so many points here. There's value capture through arbitrage. There's value capture knowing that it's only going to be deflating in supply, meaning price goes up. Actually, this is a really cool chart here. Put plain and simple, less supply, equilibrium of price goes up. So price goes up as there's less supply. We all know that. But why, again, is that happening? Because of all the massive burns that are happening. But why do people care about it? Because it's going to have a lot of utility in V2. So that, in a nutshell, is really what this burn token in our ecosystem is about. If you had to put it plain and simple, that's what it's about. That's why it matters. And that's the utility that's coming end of next month as well.
So wait, let me, just in terms of the utility piece, if you could explain that again, takes me a second here, because I'm curious to know what it will look like for those, like if we see people that just want to take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity, and they're buying and then selling. What does that look like in terms of someone that doesn't want to sell, that wants to hold on to take advantage of the ongoing utility of it?
Yeah,
I think Vincent, did you? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So if you want to take advantage of the utility, you're going to end up migrating it into V2. So you're going to port it over, regardless of price on V1. You don't care about that price. You're looking for the utilities from that aspect of things, right? We want to get it lock it into the contracts, and we want to start earning our stable rewards, and then seeing our amount that we end up staking grow, because there's mechanics to allow that your position to grow over time, as well as earning stable rewards. So that's one aspect I think that you're talking about. Does that make more sense?
It is. And real quick, the stable rewards is paid in what?
A stable token that is issued by YSL called USDY, but it's a stable reward token that we're going to maintain the peg on.
Okay. Okay.
And
so
I think that's actually
it can easily be transferred over to like BUSD or USDC, or it's going to stay on peg with that, right?
Yeah, it'll stay on peg. We'll keep that peg, and then we're going to be creating liquidity, right? We'll own the liquidity, so it's not like a Tomb Fork or other places like DEXs that require mercenary liquidity to come in that can be removed at any time. We're going to stabilize that, and the intent is to build a massively deep liquidity pool to enable folks to sell into, because we want you to sell into this.
Right.
At a point, we just have designed the mechanics to allow the system to grow faster than we can sell into it, which means then there's going to be more and more of that liquidity, and then therefore we believe that the prices will go up in terms of the tokens, that the price can go up, and then we'll stabilize our stable token to ensure that it remains at basically a BUSD level, right? So $1 USD value of $1, right? Maintaining that throughout. So you have predictable returns.
Right now, and I get that this is built from the ground up, but just for people to maybe try and understand it by a comparison of something else, what you guys have described so far is similar to what? Like EMP money or the animal farm? Like what are we?
In terms of earning, right? It's going to look like most other places where you stake a token and you're going to earn a yield off of that token.
Okay.
So yeah, it can be equated to any one of those other types of platforms, a traditional DeFi platform, right? The secret sauce is in the way that we've designed the back end of that to enable the flywheel machine to run at a sustainable long-term outlook. And when we talk about long-term, I think one of the key things when we talk about our deflationary token, is that is literally unlocking, right? So majority of the supply that Adam talked about is literally unlocking over 4 years. So in terms of an outlook, this team already has a 4-year outlook. So they've really taken the time to try to build a system we're not thinking that we're going to be around for, this is not a short-term type of thing. We want it to be sustainable for a longer period of time in terms of things. Adam, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh
there.
yeah, I like no, that was really good too. And I think like direct comparison, right? To make it clear for folks. Everybody knows Ohm, right? We all kind of know Ohm, whether you found it at the beginning or at the end, or whatever it might be. We all know that the treasury for Ohm is massive, right? Like we're talking like 100 million. So if we had to draw comparisons, I would say think of Ohm if it didn't have its downfall because of all of the selling. It's kind of what's here in a sense. So it's kind of like an Ohm that's improved with more sustainability features baked in. So our secret sauce is the sustainability and is added features to like an Ohm-like idea, I guess you could say. So I think that was one of the big downfalls of Ohm is, they were like, the first, right? They had the first mover advantage, but they didn't think about the implications of selling, right? People were earning massive rewards and then selling them, and it just wasn't sustainable. So the difference here is we want people to sell. Like that is totally fine. It's expected, and expecting people not to, it doesn't work out, at least at the beginning, until you have a very stable community base, and then you can start to expect that and start to bake in those mechanisms. But from the very start, you have to have protection mechanisms that create good stewards of the ecosystem you're building, and that's really what's done here. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd how do I say this? So because I want to cut right through it. I really want people to really grasp this. Basically, when you guys say sustainability, you listen to an AMA from any single DeFi protocol that comes up, and they will all tell you it's the most sustainable program ever invented, right?
Yeah.
So that word sustainable for most of us has lost all merit and even value.
Yeah.
Like we're not even just like, oh, sustainable, like that's just like this buzzword, right?
Yeah.
And but I like what you're saying in terms of the Ohm thing, in terms of expecting people to sell. Can you drive home that point again?
Yeah, and I'd love to hear Vincent's point as well, because I know he's extremely experienced in some of these like niche protocols, and for those listening, they might also be in that specific area. But I'll tell you my take right from the outside. The difference here when we're speaking about sustainability is the fact that selling, a behavior that we know is going to happen, is actually building out the treasury and liquidity for our reward token USDY more and more and more. So this is really the only protocol that I've seen that allows for a deepening balance of USDY that you're able to sell. So like a deepening liquidity pool for the reward token. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference.
So there's a need for people to sell, basically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there definitely is, right? And there's
Because
also heavy incentive for those that hold as well. But both sides of the equation are needed. And we'll actually get into some of the more intricacies of USDY as well. But before I do, Vincent, do you want to add to that? Because I know you have a lot of experience also in kind of seeing some of these protocols and diving in as well.
Yeah, I mean, I hold Ohm, so I'm very familiar with what it accomplished in terms of the FOMO value, right? Because everybody piled into that, and then next thing you know, people are almost earning $1,000 a day off of that, just off of the rebasing, that the mechanics of that. But the thing that made that extremely reason why you had so many people getting into that, not only did they kind of start the protocol own liquidity aspect, which was powerful, but it was because of that liquidity. People could sell into that, and they would be selling hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars in and out of that throughout the day. And the price, there would be some escalation of price, but it wouldn't thoroughly impact that price because there was liquidity there. They still have a tremendous amount of liquidity. So when you look at projects out there, even today, the ones that are relatively stable and people look up to today, they have a very, very deep liquidity. And so we believe, in this project, and I've learned over time, it's liquidity is the currency, right, in DeFi at this point. And our objective is to build that currency and to build deep liquidity, because we thoroughly want that to be as deep as possible, because we want the price impact that's associated with our token. We want people to be able to sell in the millions in this, which means we want deep liquidity. Our objective is to build that liquidity. So when we say sustainable, what we're talking about is we've built mechanics upwards of 10 different ways where this system will build liquidity into our stable token, our reward stable token, so that we ensure that we will have protocol owned liquidity, no mercenary liquidity, and we own it 100%. So there's nobody else that can manipulate that price. There's no swing traders. There's nothing else that can manipulate that price. You can buy it, you can sell it, you can transfer it, but you're not swing trading that. Because you can't access the liquidity pool because it's owned by the protocol. So we're locking that off from a security aspect, so to ensure that the average person can get their rewards. They can, when they get the opportunity, they've gotten their rewards, time has lapsed, so they can sell a larger percentage of the rewards back in the liquidity pool. It doesn't impact the liquidity itself, protection measures. They sell it all, then they can get BUSD out of that. So from that standpoint, right, we want to ensure that that's a viable solution for everybody, not just like now or in 6 months, but in 4 years from now, to enable that in terms of timing. So that to me is an extremely powerful thing.
Hey, Adam, do you think you could, like, very briefly explain the importance of what liquidity is? I've talked about it on my channel, and I try and relate it to, as someone who sells option contracts, you know what I mean, in the stock market. I won't touch something unless it's got deep liquidity, because you can't you can't get in and out. But I still haven't found that secret, like, simple way of explaining to people, because I think we throw that term around assuming people know exactly what it is, and a lot of people nod their heads like, yeah, I understand what that is, but I don't think they do.
Yeah. So thank you, by the way. I know that if I was watching a video, if I was, new, intermediate, or even advanced, I might have just skipped completely over, like, what is that again? Like, I know that it punishes me if I have like a higher impact, but I don't really understand what it is. I would say, and Vincent, if you want to, add to this to add more depth, but to me at least, it's really the ease of being able to move one asset, one token, let's say in this case, one token over to another. It's how easy is that? How liquid is that? Right? So when we look at like price impact, for example, that's basically saying you can move more, but you're going to be penalized for that because there's not enough there's not enough ease in this system to be able to do that, because you're taking away from others to be able to sell and trade and such. So basically, it's just how easy it is to move from one asset to another using that pool, that liquidity pool.
Well done.
Yeah, swapping between tokens. So
Right.
Yeah.
we mostly see that in terms of people talk about your slippage. You have to increase, or kind of the variance when you're trying to swap, right? People say, hey, there's a tax, you need to increase that because it's either due to low liquidity, the trade token's not traded enough. So that means if you want to buy $10,000 and you go in and you put your $10,000 in the queue of, say, your favorites, AMM or DEX, and then you look at the price impact, well, you're going to get less tokens out of that. That swap is not favorable to you because, let's say, it has a 50% price impact. Well, that price impact means that you're not getting as close to a one-to-one transfer when you want to swap that token out. You're not getting full value. You're getting less. So when you want to transfer in or out, you're getting less value back out of that. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you want that. So the reason why you want deeper liquidity is that means you can trade larger amounts of money and not impact price. So price remains relatively stable, and the amount of that, what the price is that you see on your current favorite coin tracker, right? If you like CoinGecko says the token's worth $5. You trade, let's say, $10,000 into that token. That price remains the $5, right? That $5 didn't change because of your swap. right? And smaller tokens, if you trade $10,000 in, that token price now goes to, say, $5.80, and you got less tokens than what you initially thought, right? So you're getting less of the asset, you're paying more for it, and then the price appreciates at that same point in time as well too.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And I think just not relying on one mechanism for liquidity to be built out is really imperative, right? If you look at some protocols, you'll see it's just derived from the tax, right? 1% is going to LP, the liquidity pair, right? 1% is going there, or it's derived some other way. Well, here it's derived in tons of different ways, right? In fact, each token has its own way of deriving liquidity add, which is fantastic. And then some of the tokens, which we'll talk about, the Treasury backed token, that in fact sees its price appreciate in relation to the Treasury that's being built out. Now, something I also wanted to speak about around simplicity is, we had talked about at the beginning, right? The economic situation we're in is a little interesting, to say the least, right? We're in a bear market. People are, what are they sitting on, right? What do they say? Like, what do they have? They probably have stable coins. And since this is a Binance Smart Chain based project, they probably have BUSD. Might be something else, but they probably have BUSD. So when we think about what is the entry point into this protocol, do I need to own all these tokens with all these wild names? No, I just need to take my BUSD, put it in to the vaults that we're going to have, starting the end of next month. And you're going to be able to earn this amazing reward token that we have on screen right now, right? You're going to be able to earn our protocol's reward token. But when I hear reward token, because we talked about sustainability, that's great. But again, going back to the point of, do I even care about this reward token? Because I think everyone here and everyone listening, I'm sure, has been in a protocol that was, oh, sustainability, but then they're getting their reward token in massive amounts sometimes. But now it's worth 1/3, 1/16 of the value I thought it was going to be at. And that is the worst feeling ever, because you're basically earning something that's essentially worthless over the span of 3 days, 4 days a week. The difference here that Vincent had explained as well, but I wanted to come back to, is when we're thinking our reward token, think of almost like a stable coin-like experience. The reason why is the protocol is actually rebalancing the price to bring it back to $1, which is so innovative. Like the price isn't going to moonshot up. The reward token isn't going to fly up in price. It's not going to happen, because every single epoch, it's rebalancing. So what happens if the price does go up? Because it will, right? It will go up. But what happens with that rebalance? Well, when the rebalance is happening, what it's doing is, if I'm getting this correctly, Vincent, correct me if I'm not, but if it's rebalancing because it's a higher price, it's taking the excess BUSD in that LP that we just spoke about, it's taking that excess, and what does it do? It's putting it right into the Treasury. So now that Treasury is growing, and the reward token has stayed flat at $1. Now, what happens if it goes under peg? I guess you could say under peg. Well, because the protocol owns the liquidity, it's able to, in the same block, pull the LP and then be able to rebalance it back to $1. So it's able to, basically adjust it to have it be back at $1. So Vincent, if you want to add to that as well, please.
Yeah, I think the the negative aspect is a little bit off, Adam. It'll reassess that in the 8-hour block, and then it'll determine whether or not it needs to basically break the liquidity and re-add the liquidity to rebalance it, or do buyback, buy in, bring in BUSD to balance that out, right? In terms of that, and there's more technical stuff we'll get into, but I think the main point that we want to get across is that there are mechanics that have been designed and tested to ensure that we maintain the peg at $1.
So and I like the way you just put that, Vincent, because let's just kind of keep it simplified a little bit, as opposed to trying to explain how you're going to do that, although that is important, but to get just the viewers a better understanding. And Adam, I like the way you kind of segued into that. Like, all right, I have BUSD in my wallet. Okay. We're in a bear market. What do I want to do with it? Okay, well, I want to look at the vaults that you have. I'm going to put my BUSD basically in those vaults, and then I'm going to be earning something that is stable that I can. Now, let me ask you, what does it look like in terms of someone that enters into this, in terms of when they take profits? What does it look like? Is it like every week you extract? Like, give me it really simplified, like, how do I make money? How do I start? Because you're right, there's times I've entered into things and then the reward token I'm getting paid out at, is just dropping. And I'm like sitting there going, well, the compound interest will eventually save me from this. Tell me what it looks like when I enter this, in terms of when I can start taking money to, have some fun with.
Well, I think on the topic of fun, you'll have a lot of fun here because everyone listening is going to be able to participate in actually a pretty awesome liquidity event, a liquidity growing event. So what's going to happen is when these vaults open end of next month, right, you're going to be able to stake in your BUSD, which we talked about, and you're actually going to be getting an 80% bonus on that stake in. So you're instantly going to be issued, that USDY, that reward token, I should say the reward token, you're getting it at 180% of what was, put in. So you're getting an 80% bonus back. And what's great is you're talking about, well, when can I start to see profit? Well, there are some protection mechanisms baked in, which we'll just briefly go, touch on after this. But I just wanted to say that you're given that reward token, and now you're able to put that into a USDY vault, a reward token vault, and see it grow through two different ways. See it grow through an absolutely amazing APY that is only going up as people stake into that vault. And it's also growing in the amount of reward token you have, because it's growing through our perpetual ratio. I won't get into it, but basically just know that you're earning in two different ways for a token that you're getting at a huge bonus just by staking in your BUSD. So when we're talking about simplicity, I mean, you are gaining so much from just contributing early and even after as well. But most people, they're listening to these AMAs because they want that inside scoop. They want to be able to get in immediately, early, to be able to see the incentive. So think about this, like just picture this, 180% APY on your USDY vault deposit, on a reward token vault deposit. You're also earning 0.2% every epoch, every 8 hours, 3 times a day. You're also earning 0.2% on that like rebasing out. So it's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty phenomenal because, again, what is this reward token doing? As Vincent had explained, it's rebalancing. Put plain and simple, it's rebalancing. So that way, even though you're getting a ton of these tokens, and you're especially getting a lot of value if you're in early, I mean, wow. Like you're getting a token that is actually worth $1 every single time. It's always rebalancing back to that dollar. So you're earning a lot of something that is retaining its value, which is awesome.
Okay, so Adam, if you were me and you had $1,000 of BUSD, what would you do? What would it look like what would you do?
Oh man. Well, okay. There's a
Not
couple different
financial advice, not financial advice, folks. This is just Adam sharing his experience in the world of DeFi.
Yeah. Okay. I will tell you an example based on USDY first. So our reward token, right? So what I would say is, as an example, deposit your $1,000 BUSD into get USDY into the vault, right? You're earning now $1,800 worth of USDY because, like I said, it's that 80% bonus. You could then take that, throw it into the USDY vault, and now, like I had mentioned, you're earning upwards of 780% APY, and you're getting that balance growing as you go. What does that actually mean? That could potentially mean that you're sitting at like a 14K balance on USDY over the course of a year. Like that is absolutely insane. So we're thinking 1K into 14K if you're keeping it there for a year. Now, again, obviously the numbers change as more money goes into the USDY vault, dependent upon when you're in, but we're talking like immediate action. it would be somewhere around there, which is absolutely insane. So for me, that's like a crazy ROI. There's also another place I would put my 1,000, but I think we'll get into that next in
Okay.
regards to our token that actually gains from the treasury growing. But that's where I would put it as far as USDY goes, or as far as our reward token goes.
Okay, that was helpful. Why don't you segue into then the next area?
Oh, okay. Let's do that, because guess what? This is something, again, not financial advice. This is something that I personally invested in, because you can buy it, right? Well, yeah, you can buy it right now. And actually, first, before we get there, just kind of like, I'm a visual guy, right? So let me actually go to, let's open up a new page real quick. And I'm going to go to just the main site. So ysl.io. I want to show you guys something. So check this out. So our treasury token, our treasury backed token, launched very, very recently. In fact, this is still brand new, and this started at well, it set its price at a dollar after 10,000 went into the treasury. So now we're more than, I think, like 500 or so % up. Actually, more than that, almost 600% up, because we're at $6.70. This is the treasury backed token that we're going to speak about right now. So that visual, I think, is really important, because you're seeing what early adoption looks like. And by the way, this is before any utility even gets added in, because we're talking end of next month is when the vaults go live and we can really start to have some fun with these tokens. So just now that we have that visual on display, let's actually dive into what is this treasury backed token. So this treasury backed token, what's cool about this is, as Vincent had kind of said earlier, right? The protocol is actually getting treasury balance. It's growing its treasury balance in 10 different ways. And you can see like some of the ways in which our treasury token is growing. But I think this is also extremely valuable here. So what you're seeing here is the treasury is growing in 10 different ways. So listing them out, you can see every 8 hours through a system that's basically automatically happening 3 times a day. That's one way. The other ways is 5% on transactions throughout the ecosystem, 45% of the treasury token that's being purchased with BUSD is being added to the treasury, and then 10% of vault deposits is going right in to the treasury. So I think that's pretty fantastic, being able to see that. And then also when we're speaking about this, right, like, this sounds great because, oh my gosh, this treasury is growing, the price is already like flying, and it's only going to go up as we actually add utility to this, right? And more treasury balance goes in, and it's growing in all these different ways. But we haven't really talked about this, like the protection, right? The protection, like, why have people not sold, right? Like, why is the price so high? Why have people not sold? Well, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, but just know that there's a whole slew of protection mechanisms baked into these tokens for our reward tokens, for our burn tokens, for our treasury backed tokens. There's protection mechanisms built in to encourage you to, yes, you can sell, capture value, but do it in a responsible way. So it's not restrictive in the sense you can never sell, but it's teaching you to sell slowly, so that way you're actually getting more return on your purchase. So now going into just like some kind of example.
Wait,
Yeah,
Adam, I'm
please.
sorry. Maybe you were about to do this. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like thinking back to like, we were talking about Ohm. If you think about like Time Wonderland, that in a sense would have worked if people just hadn't started, like if everyone just kind of sold the responsible way of selling their rewards, we would still have it. But of course people didn't, and they started selling the principal. So can you explain to me what you mean by you're teaching people how to do it responsibly? Because Time tried to do that, and we all saw what happened there.
Since Vincent is into that Ohm ecosystem and he has a lot of experience, did you want to give an example, Vincent, to make it a little bit clearer in regards to Ohm?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was because of the liquidity, they could sell into it, right? But then they were earning through the rebasing process, and then they were just constantly selling it. So the price was going down over time until you could say it hit, the lower end of that. And then people realized that they couldn't actually access the value of the Treasury itself to be that, the bottom buffer, right? The flat line at the bottom, and say the price can't go lower than this. And then people sold lower than that back price. And they proved that, while people said you can't, they proved them wrong and they sold it less. And then that created even more of the spiral of death perspective.
Right.
One of the things we've done is we've taken that away from a human and we've built it into the contracts. So you can always sell a portion if you, based on our kind of three methodologies, right? The wallet, transaction, or liquidity impacts. As long as you meet those criteria, you can get full value for your token, your Treasury token, as the price of that in the Treasury. So it's the Treasury value divided by 10,000. That gives you the Treasury value, and your Treasury token, if sold, meeting those three criteria, you can get that full value. If it doesn't meet those three criteria, it doesn't mean that you don't get anything. It just means you get the back price, which is 25%. So if you had, let's say the Treasury token was $100 in value at full price, and you sold it, but you didn't meet like the criteria, and you're going to get at least 25% of that. So you're going to get $25 out, guaranteed. And that's built into the contract. Whereas Ohm or Time didn't have that into the contract.
Right.
And that's kind of what that's what drove that negativity or that FUD, was people were like, oh no, wait. We built this Treasury out. We helped you build this Treasury out because we invested into it. Yet I can't extract that value out. And that's where that quandary came in. And in terms of that, yes, you built a tremendous Treasury. That's awesome. But it was actually just kind of owned by the team. Like the community didn't have any access to that. There was no way for us to get in and say, hey, I invested X amount, I should have a percentage of that stake, right? You just had a token that represented that Treasury, right? But it wasn't actually backed by the Treasury. And that's where Time and Ohm didn't necessarily account for that fact. Their assumptions were, hey, 3-3 is the way to go. You're going to hold it, right? If you sell it, most people won't, because we won't encourage that, but you're probably going to, hang on to it because there's more value longer term, we believe. And so they didn't account for that, people selling into it. And that's where people lost that trust, and kind of the FUD kicked in per se. So that's kind of the difference that we've corrected for and made sure that it's not just, you're not going to rely on my word, because you don't have to, because it's written into the contract. So it's guaranteed.
And then those that decide to stay, right? Those that decide to, wait the full span of the 100 days, right? You're going to be able to sell all at the protocol price. If you want 25%, I should say, you're able to sell 25% of the balance of the Treasury token, if you choose to, at 25%. You're able to sell 25% of that balance at the full protocol price that Vincent was talking about. So in that example, right, let's say protocol price is 100, right? And let's just take like maybe an introduction, like you're brand new in, right? And you've only participated in the in the vault for, let's say, 4 days, right? So let's say protocol price is 100 by the end of next month. So doors open, protocol price is 100, meaning that's the price of this Treasury token. So 4 days pass. The amount you can sell at that full protocol price is 1% of your balance. Let's say you have a balance of 100 of these Treasury tokens, right? So you can sell 1% of those at the full protocol price. But as Vincent had said, we're allowing you to still sell at what's called the back price, as he had said, 25% of the protocol price. So the back price is $25 in this situation. So you're still able to sell the rest of your balance as long as it meets the other criteria to protect the price. You're able to still sell a portion of that, if not all of that, at the back price. So that's the cool thing, is you're still able to capture insane gains on it, even if you're not selling it all at the protocol price. And that difference is doing nothing but helping the ecosystem grow. So thinking about interlinking, right? thinking about interlinking, we talked about our reward token, right? And how you're depositing in BUSD, you're getting this huge incentive, which is starting the end of next month. We're giving you 180% in those tokens when you deposit in BUSD. Well, guess what? When you deposit in, that 10% tax that's going in is actually feeding the treasury. So you can start to see the interlinking of the different parts of this ecosystem, creating a mutually beneficial experience, not just for the protocol, but also for the farmer as well, also for the investor. So I just wanted to kind of like give that example where, you know, you're still able to sell at that back price if you choose to, and you can still make some insane gains. There's going to be quite a few people that maybe buy in right now and have bought in. And let's say they bought at $3. Let's say they're buying right now at $7 or $8 in a couple weeks, let's say it goes up to. Well, we could easily fly up in value. I mean, let's just think about this for a second. Ohm has a treasury of 100,000, right? Or sorry, 100 million, way more than that, right? 100 million. So if we're taking 100 million divided by, like what Vincent had said, 10,000, which is determining the protocol price, that means the protocol price is $10,000. Like, that's nuts. Even if you take 1/4 of that, that is still an insane price point for a token right now in our ecosystem that is going for, $6.50, right? So we can think of, if this is even slightly successful, this treasury-backed token is absolutely going to fly. And it doesn't matter if you sell at the protocol price. You can, a lot of people will, but also a lot of people are going to say, I'm more than happy with the back price. It's already far exceeded my expectations, and I'm going to sell for that if I choose to. And if you do, that difference is doing nothing but helping out the ecosystem.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think, but Adam hasn't even hit the actual utility for the Treasury token yet either. That gets me excited because then I'll be able to, there's two aspects to utility that we'll get into. One of them being able to earn BUSD at the end of the day, staking the Treasury token and then earning BUSD passively, and then being able to take place in a lottery type aspect as well for utility. So you can, every 8 hours, you can participate in a lottery and then have an opportunity to earn that way as well for people that are interested in those two areas.
Yeah, I mean, the demand for our like treasury backed token we see on screen right now is going to be absolutely insane. I mean, people have already demonstrated their interest in it, but exactly as Vincent has said, right? There's utility outside of just price appreciation. There's like pretty amazing utility for this token. The one that I'm most excited for is earning those stable coins. Talking about giving access to the treasury, well, yeah, we're literally giving you access through rewards in BUSD for staking in our treasury token. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. It's a system in which you're able to go in with BUSD and then be able to earn through staking this treasury token and earn BUSD in the end, essentially. So it's as simple as staking BYSL and earning BUSD. So I thank you, Vincent, for bringing that up, because I think that is important. We're not just speculating on price. Price is derived from value. Value is derived from what's actually happening that I can get access to, which are those two features, which are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's really the, sorry.
No, go ahead, Vincent.
I was going to say the utility, right? Kind of have three things. The treasury token has access to the treasury, right? Either at full price or a guaranteed back price. There's a guaranteed price floor, right? So you can't dump it into zero. It can't be, because there's always going to be at least one person left over that's going to have that token, because it doesn't get put in the open market. It gets burned when you basically submit it back, right? It gets minted or it gets burned. Those are the only two options with that token in terms of being able to move it around the system utility wise. So then it gives you access to treasury, it gives you access to earn stable, BUSD passively, and then allows you to then also take advantage of a lottery system after that, right? And this is a token that's available right now. So it's not something that you have to wait for. Adam showed you the chart, the website to go to where you can purchase it directly off of the YSL website using BUSD. It's as simple as that from that standpoint. So in terms of the key elements, right, that we want to get across, that's the main point, right? We're not, we've shown you the potential for price, right? But the main elements that we want to get across is it's the utility of this token, the powerful utility of this token being linked to a treasury, giving you a long-term perspective in being able to earn BUSD passively, and then also giving you, hey, while you're doing that, we're going to give you some excitement through the lottery things. People, have seen EMP with some of the stuff that they've been doing. People get excited about. This is something along those lines, a little bit different than the way they've done it, right? Because not everybody is the same way, but it's a general concept that gets across, right? So there's the power of this is to me, I'm really excited. I can't wait.
How often are people extracting BUSD? Like in terms of the generating the yield in BUSD, what does that look like?
So when you stake in using this treasury backed token, right, you're going to be able to stake in and then earn a stable coin essentially. So to my knowledge, you're going to be able to just like claim that right away. It's not going to be necessarily
every 8 hours.
Okay,
yeah.
and
it's aligned with the 8-hour epochs.
The epochs, yeah.
Yeah.
And is there a way to recompound that, or is it just a claim feature?
Yeah, I mean, since it's it'll be a claim feature, so you can claim it, and then since it's BUSD and our system runs off of BUSD, yeah, you can compound it, but then your strategy is up to you, right? Do you want to get into one of the tokens? Do you want to go back into the treasury token? Do you want to, kind of go back into earning the stables?
So it's not like a button. It's not like a compound button. It's a compound in terms of how you want to use the BUSD in terms of the vault.
Yeah.
Now,
100%. Yeah.
So a lot of my viewers, including myself, are very big into Drip Network, which I'm assuming you guys are familiar with.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, and the animal farm, of course, and and just in terms of helping them, one of the things is that the animal farm, is it's a lot of taxes. There's a lot of moving parts, and it all is kind of supporting each other. And how do I phrase this? As someone that wants to enter into, like, let's say Drip Network and Animal Farm and start learning about it, the easiest thing is to say, well, to start off, let's get you into the faucet where you can earn 1% a day. And then from there, don't worry, you don't have to know the entire ecosystem, just have you start right there in the faucet. Is there, and it sounds like we had talked about it a little bit earlier, but how would that apply in terms of you guys? Someone that just wants to get in and start learning this system and be involved in earning money, what would the best course of action be?
Well, I can tell you, like when I'm learning about something, once I understand it, at least at its basic level, I like to tell other people about it, because when I'm explaining it to someone, it also helps me understand it. So I can tell you, like, just explaining this protocol to friends and family members and just how excited I genuinely am about this with my own investments in. I can tell you that being able to not only tell people about it, but also earn on that is important. Because if you're earning in BUSD, which you're going to be able to, you can then start to experiment risk-free in this ecosystem. So I think that's a pretty cool way. So I think that's a really good kind of just sort of segue into our actual referral system. So this is a referral system that I think is very, very generous. And I think we're going to give some good examples of how this is really done and how you could potentially see benefit from this as well. First I'll go into the referral system, and then I'm going to give another avenue in as far as if someone's new, but I did want to touch on the referral system. So when we're thinking about first, how is BUSD generated, right? Like, how is BUSD even generated for the referrals in the first place? Are we selling tokens to be able to support this? How is this generated? Well, it's generated in the ecosystem in 10 different ways, as you can see on the screen right here. And I think this is important to go over first, because we have to understand when we're speaking sustainability, if we're going to say that word, let's actually show it. Let's show the proof of it. So it's earning in 10 different ways here. So you can see on deposits and vaults, on purchases and transfers using our reward tokens, on purchases and transfers of our stable coin, and then also on purchases and sells of our Treasury token. So it's earning in tons of different ways here. And now that we know that, you know, it's earning throughout the ecosystem, not relying on one piece, we can now say, well, why is it valuable? Why do I care about even referring someone? Well, you care because you're going to be able to earn at a risk-free way with no investment even. Like if you just know 5 people, for example, you can earn absolutely massively from this. So there's some pretty good examples here that I want to give, but first just know how this works. So the first person you refer, you're getting 4% in BUSD of all the BUSD transactions they do in the ecosystem. If you guys remember, everything in this, as far as going in, requires BUSD. So you can start to see how this can really start to add up, but it doesn't end there. It's a 3 downline system. The next person after that, let's say they refer, right? So not the person you referred, that's the first person you're getting 4% back in BUSD that's being transacted. But the person they refer, that second downline, you're earning 3% from them, and then extending out down. The third person, you're earning 2% from them. So let's give a little example here, because I think this is really important, because this isn't just for influencers. In fact, the way that we structured the system is for the everyday person, right? Even though I'm on video and I like to talk, as far as like real people that I know in this space, I know maybe about 6. I know maybe about 6 that would take action and actually listen to what I have to say and put their own money in, right? If I'm actually excited about something, they're ready to listen. So by no means am I an influencer, but people that are, they can benefit even more, but you don't need to be. So I wanted to kind of like illustrate an example here. So let's say, for example, you have 5 people. All right. Now, within a month, let's say you explain this concept, they listen to this video, they like what they hear, and they say, okay, I'm going to invest. Well, between those 5 people, let's just say in this example, they're putting in $10,000 a month in volume, split between 5 people, right? Pretty reasonable, $10,000 a month. You could have maybe some people that have a little bit more to spend, some people that have a little bit less, whatever, but let's just say 10,000. So with that 10,000, you're earning $400 a month with this amount of volume by doing nothing, through that downline. And that's just level 1. That's literally just level 1 without them inviting anybody. By the way, the incentive for them, why do I even care about clicking your link? Like, you're my friend, I'll support you, but like, why don't I just click on the website myself and do it myself, right? Well, the benefit for them for taking the action of clicking your referral link is they're actually earning 1% back in the BUSD that they're putting in. So as they're depositing into vaults, as they're transacting, they're using their BUSD and converting it over into that protocol-owned, ecosystem, right? That we talked about. They're earning back 1%. So they're actually earning collectively $100 just by clicking on your link. So it's already mutually beneficial. So it's kind of like a win-win-win, right? You're winning, they're winning, the protocol's winning, right? And then actually it's a quadruple win because also the investors are winning too. But now let's go to that second line. We talked about the fact that you can earn $400 in stable coins in monthly income with a $10,000 volume on those 5 friends. Let's say we go to the second line, and let's say out of those 5 friends, they refer another 5, 25 people in total now, right? 25 people in total. Let's say the volume stays the same, but now you're extending out to more people. So now there's $50,000 in the total amount of traded volume. Well, we talked about the fact that level 2 is earning 3%. So you're still earning a very generous amount of BUSD, even though you weren't the person that referred that person. What does that come down to? We went from $400 on just the first line to $1,900 a month that you're earning in passive rewards in BUSD straight to your wallet that you can, or straight to the dashboard that you can claim. That's fantastic because that's just reliant on the second level. Now, just for full transparency, let's go to the third level now. Let's say you're completely hands-off in all this, by the way, right? They're inviting, they're earning, that sort of thing, because they're earning 4% too. But let's say the third line. Now on the third line, you're earning 2% on all of the transactions that are happening in BUSD. And let's say again, the amount of volume stays the same, but you're extending out to more people. So now you're at 125 people. This means a trading volume of, this blows my mind, a trading volume of $250,000 per month. By the way, you only started with 5 people. but this is just saying it's growing and growing and growing and saying they invite 5 people, they invite 5 people, that sort of idea. So with that amount of volume, you're earning just shy of $7,000, in fact, $6,900 in BUSD from all 3 levels, taking action in a simple way by just telling 5 people. I know 5 people, some people might know 3 people, some people might only know 2 people, but the power of this is if someone that you invite knows more, this can completely take off for your advantage. So when I think of initial steps, I think of what's something that I can do that requires literally no investment on my part. I can capture BUSD, take that BUSD, and now experiment with being able to deposit into vaults and earning amazing APYs in USDY once I stake in, right? Or being able to take some of that BUSD and maybe purchase my first XYSL, you know, my first deflationary token, or maybe I want to use it to buy my first Treasury back token, which we just talked about. It's so powerful, and it is not just for influencers. That's the power. Like I love influencers, right? They're amazing. They're what helps get the word out. But what about for the everyday person? What about for someone like me, someone that may be listening right now? Like this system is for them. And it just really is beneficial to everyone here. Because again, it's not pulling from selling tokens, it's pulling from the transactions and the occurrences that are happening in the ecosystem to be able to sustain those rewards and have that downline done in stable coins. So putting plain and simple, again, just starting with 5 people can almost earn you $7,000 a month, as long as those 5 people are also taking the similar action. So I just wanted to end there as far as, you know, the referral system goes. I'm not sure if you had a question on that, because I know I talked a little bit, but I think it's so easy to get passionate about because we all know at least 1, 2, or maybe even 5 people that could potentially see a lot of value in this.
No, that is amazing. And you're right. I think that a lot of times people, to try and create a team in some of these other protocols, you know, to really make any money from doing it that way, you really need to build out a very, you know, big team. Whereas something like this, in the way that this is working, it doesn't need to be this like huge, robust, you know, team to actually earn profit. So that's incredible.
And I wanted to turn it over to Vincent now, because you said, like, you know, that first action, if I'm just coming in, what do I do, right? So this is one way that costs nothing to you, which is really cool. I wanted to start there because I know a lot of people like to kind of poke around in the protocol first, see what's going on. But there's also a lot of people that like to take action when they see something valuable. So Vincent, if you want to maybe give the example of potentially participating with the reward token and seeing some big value there.
Yeah, I think you know, there's really in the current market, right? There, a lot of us don't have a lot of excess capital lying around in terms of things to put into stuff, right? So I think the referral system, to me, is a no-brainer, because it kind of forces you to have to learn the system itself to be able to explain it to others, to you know, get them excited about what you're hearing about here today. So that's one way to kind of kickstart the engine. You know, if you do have a little bit of capital, right, and you know, it doesn't have to be a lot, in my mind, especially with our Treasury token value. Right now, I think Adam said it's, you know, just shy of $7, right? And we talked about that explosive growth that it could exist there. To me, that is the simplest way to get in. It's like it's easy. It's linked to the Treasury. You're going to be able to earn a stable token out of that BUSD. Everybody knows what BUSD is. You know, it's the stable on the Binance Smart Chain. So get in there, and then, you know, wait for the utility, that further utility to come into play, and then, you know, kind of hang out and learn through the referral system, right? And you can learn the rest of the mechanics and all the other things that we've got in there. The white paper is massive. No one person can sit down and read this entire thing. I know me and Adam and the team, you know, if we were to clock the amount of hours we've had talking about this, right, to distill it down and make it simple, you know, we've been talking about it for months, and the team's been building it for almost a year, really. And I've been talking with them behind the scenes even before that. There's still a massive amount of ways and strategies and things. And that's the power of this ecosystem. But to me, it's, you know, it's getting the Treasury token and then going in with the rewards aspect, signing up, getting your referral link, and then starting to get the word out there about this great capability. Those would be my first two steps. Regardless of the amount of capital you're able to get, at least the referral, you can start learning the system, and it'll force you to do that. And there's many ways to do that, right? You can create, we've had folks already in our community start their own YouTube channel from scratch. They're already talking about it, right? So they're competing with Adam in terms of getting the word out there.
True.
There's folks, you can write articles, you can tweet about it. You can use other marketing methods, right? So this is not just restricted to, the traditional crypto Twitter is the only way to get the word out, or, kind of Reddit or whatever means you normally consume information. You can create valuable stuff to get that momentum and move things forward, right? And happy to help. If people want to reach out and ask questions, happy to help in any mechanism to help them get started in that journey as well. Happy to help from that standpoint.
And in terms of the person watching right now, that's like, you know what, I want to jump in on this, and I want to start off small. Right now, there's basically two different options they can do: the Treasury token and the rewards token, correct?
Well, it would be the Treasury token and the burn token is what they can participate in right now. Yeah.
Okay. And would you, going back to, would you guys recommend not recommend, you can't do that, but would you guys say that doing a combination of both is ideal, or is it better to get started just with one, and then from there you go to the other?
I mean, personally, I did not financial advice, obviously, we already said that, but I did a diversified approach because, as Vincent had mentioned, and as I had gone over, why not have exposure to a token that is only going to be burning down, and is burning down in two different ways, and is also imperative to the ecosystem. So for me, I'm like, I want some exposure there, but also I can't help but ignore the opportunity that our Treasury-backed token has right now. It's so cheap. It's so incredibly cheap right now for the value that you're going to be able to get out of it. So I had to pick up some of that too. So for me, it's almost like 70-30. So like 70% Treasury-backed token, 30% burn token. I'm getting a nice exposure. That's personally how I structured my portfolio. Everyone, might see a little bit different, but for me, knowing that I'm going to be able to earn some insane stable coin rewards, I'm going to be able to take those stable coin rewards, put them into our vaults, and earn, our reward token that, by the way, again, is rebalanced to $1. Consistently is rebalancing to $1. I mean, that's how I go in. I mean, that's what I would do personally.
Okay, so we're going to leave a link down below this that someone can go, and it'll take them right to the website here. And can you quickly show them? You guys were on it a second ago. Can you quickly show what that will look like?
The actual referral system, or?
Well, no, that like the place where they would connect. Here we go. Okay.
Yep.
And
so,
go ahead.
So you would connect your wallet. Really, really simple. So first of all, I would highly suggest you join the Telegram. Ask some questions, right? Ask some questions, even just meet and greet with us. We're all here. You'll see myself, Dave, Vincent. You also, by the way, be able to interact with the two founders, Simran and Harddev. You can ask them questions as well. But once you're there, I bet you can find a referral link, or you can find it through maybe this video perhaps as well. But when you click on that, you're going to be able to then connect your wallet. After accepting the terms and conditions and so on, you're going to connect your wallet. Once you're connected up, then you're going to be brought basically right to the swap page, where you're able to take immediate action and purchase our Treasury-backed token, BYSL, if you choose to, if you want to fill your portfolio that way. Now, if you want to buy the burn token, which I'm just going to say the name so that way everyone knows, XYSL, that you won't buy here. You're actually buying through the OTC link, which is why it's important to join the Telegram, because it's going to be linked there and you're going to be able to buy with no tax. So that's how you would get those two tokens. Now, going over to, well, what if I want to refer someone, right? I liked Adam's first example where I don't even need to invest any money. Like, I just want to get in, get my link and send it out, right? Well, look how cool this is. You click on the referral link and it's basically going to say, once you have your wallet connected, it's going to say, hey, here's your link, copy it and send it out to whoever you want. Now, as long as they click on that link, you're going to be able to get that referral sign on and be able to earn on that downline. You're going to start earning on that downline. And actually, I wanted to share here. I'm going to go ahead and share a different screen, because I have a little preview of what that looks like. And it's actually live right now, so it's not even a preview, but just to show you what it looks like once you actually have that connected. So I'm going to share screen on that. And this is what it would look like. So can you guys see that? Does it show the little picture?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so it's easier to see. But basically, this is what the referral tab is going to show once you connect your own wallet. So you're going to have a referral link, which you can easily copy. You're also going to have all the information there. So it's going to basically show you, your referral stats, how many people you've referred, what your downline is like, how much you're earning, who invited you. You're also able to claim those rewards as they start to accumulate. You're going to be claiming them from the dashboard here. It's extremely easy. And if you just remember that one piece of, you do not need to be an influencer, you just need to know a couple people. Even if you just know 2 people, that's sufficient, because you can still earn quite a bit if they then continue to invite, and so on down the line. So it's really, really, really powerful. And the sooner you can send those referral links out, the better, because this is nascent. This is brand new. You could see the price of, our Treasury backed token. It's not even in the double digits yet, right? So this is literally at the very start. So what better time to actually expand this community than right now, especially once you learn a little bit about it, and enjoy this video as well, where we try to distill it down and make it easy to understand for the everyday investor. That's the power of this. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to end there as far as the referral system goes.
That's fantastic. All right, and there's that's the Telegram group right there.
So the official Telegram group, I believe it'll be linked. Hopefully it'll be linked there. But if you wanted to know the exact thing, it's t.me /YSL_.io. So just make sure you're going to the right one. Always, try not to type it in. Look for the official one that's actually linked on the YSL.io website. So I'm actually going to go there again, just so you can see how easy it is to be able to find it. So let's go back to the share screen here. Let's go back. And you're just on, let's say you're just on YSL.io, right? You're on the landing page, it'll take you here. Yep. Okay. So we're on the landing page. Now it's going to take you immediately to the swap. But now if you want to be able to find the official community, there should be, let's see, in the doc.
All the links are on the right-hand side.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right here. So even easier. Telegram button right there. Boom, click it, and you're immediately in.
Perfect. And I'll leave a link for that too below this video. And
Excellent.
one last thing, and I mean, obviously I want to leave you guys with some closing stuff if you have anything, but I want to know, where's the merch store on the website?
It's not live yet.
That's on me. That's on me. That'll be coming soon. Yeah, I got these guys, the swag, the hoodies. I even modeled it myself on a previous video, but yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, Day, I think was one of the AMAs you did. I saw you rocking that hoodie, and I was like, man, that looks good. And I mean, granted, it's I'm in the States. It's August here. It's warm, but I'm already getting fired up to get some merch. Those
Look
hoodies
at Adam. He's in the middle of summer as well. He has it on. Show the back, Adam. Come on.
I love it.
It's nice. It's really cool.
Yeah. So.
And you know what? It's like 90 something here, but I'm still rocking it. Luckily, it's air conditioned inside, but I absolutely love it, because also I'm obviously really proud to be able to represent a project like we talked about that really is speaking truth to the idea of sustainability. It's not a buzzword if you're actually sustainable and if you're actually bringing in innovation. But again, hopefully this was an inroad to learn about YSL, right? Because there's a lot here potentially if you haven't watched this AMA. And even after, I'm sure some people have some questions, and that's the power of joining the official Telegram, asking those questions, asking the developers, myself, and then when you feel comfortable, consider investing. But this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate this.
No, and I'm glad we all connected. And I think to the viewers, definitely join the Telegram group. I think that that's something that I like to do before I actually invest in things, is I like to get a sense of the community. I like to get a sense of what's going on. If I have additional questions, I know exactly where I can go and start asking those. Again, guys, thank you for doing this with me. This is something that, when it caught my eye, I was like, I want to get to understand this a little bit better, because there is some complexity to it. But in the current kind of state that we're in, there's obviously, I'm very reserved in terms of what I cover on this channel. And I've tried to keep it, limited, just because of what we've seen gone on in the space. But this is something that, again, I just was very fascinated by. So Dave, thank you for originally reaching out to me and us getting this going. This has been really quite a learning experience and exciting. So
Pleasure.
yeah. So
Thank you for
thank
having
you,
us.
folks. Did you guys have any last things you wanted to say?
I think I've said my part. My big thing is, like, community building is a must. Why not earn off that community building as well if you're contributing to it? Even if you don't want to do that, by the way, just join anyways and just see what this is all about. Kind of kick the tires, see if you'd like to invest, and we would love to be able to earn that trust and see you on ysl.io.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining, tuning in. If you've lasted this long, fantastic. Get over to the Telegram group. This has been wonderful. If you haven't yet already, please like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. All right. There we go. Are we good? We still recording?
We are good. Yeah, we are only us now on the chat, so we're good. So I think that went pretty well.
Yeah.
For anybody that's a beginner as well, I think this will be a really great AMA. So what I would do is, when I close it, we say our goodbyes. I'll send you the link so you can download it, basically.
Yeah. And then what I'm going to try and do, and I was already thinking about it as we were talking, was just, I may want to, like, there was parts where I think, Adam, you had said something where I was like, oh, that will be the hook that maybe I'll throw at the very beginning, like as like a preview about what they're about to see. Then I'll go into
awesome.
my intro, because I definitely, and granted, I know it was the AMA that I was doing, but I was learning more just from doing this than just some of the past stuff. And it was a little bit more easy for me to follow with the way you guys presented it, with like less letters and just referring it as like the rewards token and the treasury token. That just, for me, and I got my own dyslexia and all that stuff. So it just was helpful.
No, it's very valuable. And it taught us too that, like, it's retraining us to be able to think in terms of someone new to this space, or even someone intermediate or advanced. Like, I don't know that XYSL is a burn token, right? It was maybe mentioned once, but if it doesn't continue to be cemented as that, I have no idea what this is.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
that was a very good point.
It was good, because sometimes they're really close to the, to the project you're working on, and so you cannot see it from behind, from 3 steps behind. And I think this will also make it easier for people to comprehend it, right? To not think like, okay, this is another level to complicate for me, for example.
Right. Well, awesome, guys.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, I think, morning for you, right?
And Dave, you just going to send that to me through Telegram?
Yes, I'll send the link when, it's finished processing. It will give me the link and I'll send it over.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has been great.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to the merch. Looking forward to the merch, Dave.
You
will get one. You will get one for sure.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
All right, guys. Take care.
See you guys.
Yeah. Bye.
You too, bye.